Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm a Fantastic Girl here, and today I'll be sharing my personal comic book story origin with you guys. So basically I'm going to be telling you how I got into comics in the first place and how I became the person that I am, because without comics, I honestly don't know who I would be. So I've always been a tomboy. Like, all growing up, I was a tomboy. I was never a girly girl to begin with. Was still kind of not. And so I came across a character that I really came to love very, 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 very much. And if you haven't guessed by now, it's good old Spidey. So Spider-Man has become a huge part of my life, and he's my all-time favorite Marvel character. Like I get asked this question all the time, like, who's your favorite Marvel character? I'm like, that's just a hard question, especially for me now, because there's so many characters that I love and everything, but I have to give credit all to Spidey, because he's the whole reason why and also how I got into comics in the first place. So the story is, I was like 6, maybe, actually I think I was 7 years old, and I came across the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire. And so I had no idea who Spider-Man was, like nothing about his character whatsoever, but I decided to watch that movie for the first time way back when. And like, despite me not knowing anything about Spider-Man or Peter Parker or any of his history prior to that, I really enjoyed the movie, like, a lot. And even the parts where it was kind of brutal, like like for any 7-year-old, it was probably very traumatizing to watch your favorite hero get beaten up pretty bad. But the rest of the movie, like how he got his powers and how he became Spider-Man, that was just really cool to me, because like it was just something I'd never seen before prior to that. And I mean, if you know Spider-Man and you know anything about his history, he's been through a lot, like so much stuff. And like, I think what people love most about him is that he's super relatable, like in so many ways. Like, I know he's living this double life, like he's living his personal life as Peter Parker while living his life as Spider-Man and protecting New York City from very, very dangerous people. And so you just see him struggle, like sometimes very, like a lot, like throughout the comics. And it's just been really, really awesome getting to see his character grow ever since I started reading the Spider-Man comics. and he's become one of my most favorite of all time characters to read about, to learn about. And to be honest, it's actually helped me like kind of come out of my shell a little bit, because I have this whole new community around me now that loves to talk about comics, and it's been really great. I love being part of the comic community, especially the IG comic family on Instagram, and like everyone that I've interacted with has been super awesome, and I just love talking about comics with them, and especially Spider-Man, because he's my favorite. And so on top of all that, I've also recently got into cosplay as well. So, well, not very recently, but I've been cosplaying since 2015, and like one of my cosplays is Spider-Man and Captain America mashup. I call it Captain Spider. So two of my favorite characters mashed into one. So that's really cool. So anyway, back to my origin story. So once I watched that movie, I got completely hooked. Like he's just super awesome, and his powers, despite the fact that I'm terrified of spiders, I love his powers, and I love also his stories and his the characters that he has in his life. Like, despite how traumatic all his relationships have been and his comic history, I love MJ, I love Gwen, and I love Felicia, Black Cat. Like, I love his chemistry with all those characters, and his villains. Like, the villains in his comics are some of the best. Like Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, Venom, Carnage. Like, the list goes on and on. And I just really enjoy like learning more about him, and also reading his comics from time to time. And like, I never get tired of reading about Spider-Man. So I'm gonna share some of my a few of my favorite comics that I have of him, and I have to start off with the Ultimate Spider-Man run by Brian Michael Bendis, because I'm pretty sure this was the first comic run that I came across. Like, I wish I can remember exactly when I started collecting comics, because it's been so long. But I didn't seriously start collecting comics until I was like in high school. But I had collected a few comics like this Ultimate Spider-Man run, like when I was in middle school, I believe. I really wish I can remember. So Ultimate Spider-Man is, I think, one of the better runs. I think it's just really well done, and like, Brian Michael Bendis is a really great author, and he just nailed it, like, spot on. So I love the Ultimate Spider-Man run, and it's a favorite of mine for sure. And I'm just going to show a few of my favorite covers. starting with this one. This is a beauty. I really should frame this and put it on my wall because it's just so good. And that cover is by Alex Ross. So I really wish this was the real, like, original Amazing Fantasy 15, but it's a reprint, and I got it recently at my comic store. So this, for those of you who don't know, is Spider-Man's first appearance, and it's really great, and it's another key issue that I'm dying to get my hands on one of these days. Hopefully sometime in the future I'll be able to get it. And also Fantastic Four #1 is another key issue I really want. So, little side note here, I also have to thank Spider-Man, like the Spider-Man comics as well, to because like there's those stories introduced me to a bunch of new characters that I had no idea about, like another favorite of mine, Fantastic Four. And for the longest time I was collecting just Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, like it just exclusively those two, because they're definitely my favorite characters in all of Marvel. And so for the longest time I was just collecting Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, but I recently started expanding more into the Marvel Universe and collecting different characters like Daredevil and Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers, X-Men, all of them. But it's really Spider-Man that introduced me to a bunch of all those other characters. So another cool cover I really like, to very iconic villains, Venom and Carnage. They are both very, very lethal and dangerous, as most of you may know. So Spider-Man definitely has his hands full when both of them are coming at him. And this one is one of my favorite covers of all time. Todd McFarlane. He's like a legend at this point, especially with this run. This one in particular is a collector's item, so I am not taking it out of this protective cover unless it gets damaged or something. I know, another tip for collecting comics, make sure you change out the bags and boards from time to time. Not all the time, but often. So next is one of my favorite Spider-Man suits, and trust me, there are so many Spider-Man suits that I love, but this one is one of my favorites, and that is the black symbiote Spider-Man suit. It's like, in this cover in particular is by John Byrne, who I was just talking about with the Fantastic Four video. So if you haven't watched that, go check it out. And like, this cover, it's just really cool looking, I think. I mean, it's just all black and white except for the title, obviously, but I just love how cool it looks. So once I saw that, I had to get it. Another one is this comic is by Dan Slott. It's the Amazing Spider-Man number 796, and I want to give a special shout out to Reggie Collects, who's also here on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to him, go give him a follow. and he's also on Instagram too. He's really great, and he's the one who sold me this comic, so I just really love it. It's really great. And another cover I wish was the real deal is this one. This is True Believers comic. They're only like $1 each, which, I mean, you can't beat that. So this is the Amazing Spider-Man #1, featuring my other favorite people, Fantastic Four. So this is when Spider-Man he invades the Baxter Building and tries to join the Fantastic Four, which I think is really funny. Like, he just goes there and they're all cocky and just confident that they're gonna let him on the team, and they're like, no. Why would we let you join the team? Like, this is not an open membership group. Like, we're not looking for any more teammates here. So he invades the Baxter Building, and they don't really like that much. So it's really great. I can't beat the classics. This is another comic I wish I could have, like, the actual issue of Amazing Spider-Man #1. So yeah, those are a few of my favorite comics featuring Spider-Man. I have a lot more, and my many comic boxes that I have in my collection, but those are just a few of my favorite covers that I like. And also, I don't know if you can see it up here, but I have a graded comic of Amazing Spider-Man #300. So that was the first graded comic that I got that was sold to me, and it's the first appearance of Venom. So, and again, it has one of my favorite Spider-Man suits on it, so that's cool. And yeah, and I don't know if you can see it behind me, but I have some awesome collectibles here, some different variations of Spider-Man suits here. There's the Ben Reilly suit, which is really cool, and classic suit, the more recently new Spider-Punk suit, which is really awesome. I love it. And also the symbiote suit and Bombastic Bagman. So this one, I found this one hilarious because, like, at one point in the comics, Spider-Man, I'm pretty sure his mask and suit get damaged, which seems to be a naturally occurring theme for him, apparently. So he needed a new suit, and Johnny's like, well, we have an extra Fantastic Four suit you can use, but we don't have a mask for you. So he ends up putting a bag over his head and swinging around the city just like this. I just love that suit so much. Mostly because it's Spider-Man and he's wearing a Fantastic Four suit, so I think that's awesome. And so back to my origin. Like I said, after I saw the movie, I got hooked, and everything was Spider-Man at that point. And the very next year, for my birthday, I had my very own Spider-Man themed birthday party. I was turning 8 years old, and I had Spider-Man themed party for my birthday. And I'm sure a lot of people thought that it was really weird or strange or different, whatever, that I was having, uh, like, I guess, a boy themed party. Because probably back then, it wasn't the norm for girls to be into comics. Not nearly as much as it is now. But back then, I actually was kind of like nervous to talk about comics with like other people, especially around my age, because I was afraid that they would think I was weird or just a nerd, which I guess now looking back, I've always been a nerd. I'm not even afraid to admit that. But all in all, Spider-Man and comics from like all different types of characters, but especially Spider-Man and Fantastic Four really have made me who I am, and I love it. I love collecting. I love reading the comics, and it's been a huge part of my life for a very long time, and I don't think I'll ever stop loving comics and stop loving Marvel, because it's just a huge part of who I am, and I'm not ashamed of it. I just love it, and I have to thank Spidey for that. And so, and also reading comics has like given me some inspiration for my artwork too, because for those of you who don't know, I draw and paint as another hobby of mine besides cosplay, which I'll be doing more videos about cosplay as well. But I know I've posted a hyperlapse video of one of the paintings that I've done. I'm pretty sure it was a Spider-Man one. Yeah, it was a Spider-Man painting. It was the PS4 version of his suit, which I really love. And but yeah, comics have given me inspiration for a lot of things, and ever since I started my Instagram account, for example, I have met so many people, and I've had so many great conversations with them, and they've really become like some of my friends, like a lot of them, and it's been awesome. Like I never would have even imagined that I would have so many awesome people in my life, even though I haven't met them face to face. So it's just a really great community to be a part of, and I'm really honored to be a part of it. So that's basically it. I mean, when it really comes down to it, Spider-Man will always be my number one. He's just a really great character, and I have to give props to Stan Lee and Steve Ditko for bringing this amazing, amazing, amazing character into the comic world. And he's brought a lot of joy and excitement and also sadness too, because he's been through a lot into our lives for our entertainment and everything. So yeah, I mean, I really want to thank you guys for watching. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, and I look forward to doing more of these videos in the future. See you guys next time. Fantastic Geeks.